Thank you for joining us. I think let's start with some of the tweets. You can look at the screen if you'd like. Yep. This one comes from Mtogozi Sindebele, who says, what is the extent of COSATU's regional advocacy, especially with Zim workers? Are you involved in any way with Zim workers as COSATU?
Look, in terms of our international solidarity and international campaigns, we're involved in the solidarity work, including Zimbabwe and Swaziland. And if you remember, some times back, we went to Zimbabwe. We were checked out, accused that we went there uninvited by President Mugabe. But our interaction is with the workers. If they invite us, they want to share experiences, we do come.
Yeah. And then what should we do as workers when the employer don't want a union at the workplace?
Look, it is a constitutional right that workers should belong and form a trade unions. Both the employers and government and the trade unions are signatories to the ILO Convention on Freedom of Association. So when you are denied that right, you've got the right to take the employer to the CCMA and say to our representatives who want to form a trade union. No employer will refuse. The CCMA will facilitate that you are able to experience or to practice your right.
Yeah. Just talk about the core ideals around celebrating a day such as this, Workers' Day.
Look, the history of May Day is what we may term today is as part of the decent work agenda. People were demanding an 8-hour day, in which most countries now have achieved. People were demanding paid leave. Remember, in the 18th or 17th centuries, people were working like semi-slave. So the importance is to achieve those demands as enshrined in our constitution and be able to celebrate it.
Yeah, just looking at the way the world is today, the way things are today, many workers out of work, lots of unemployment, the pressure on the economy, but also the pressure on people in terms of the cost of living and so on. Is there much to celebrate on this Workers' Day?
Look, I mean, if you put in that context, almost there's absolutely nothing. If you take to the question of unemployment, poverty, inequality growing in terms of those issues. But without the trade unions being involved, I think issues could have been worse. The trade union are the last defense in terms of protecting the workers' right. In that context, you have then be able globally to celebrate, and still people are still enjoying their 8-hour day, even under those austerity measures. People still have the right to form a trade unions. So in that context, there's still something to celebrate. Of course, we know that workers' victories are temporary all the time, are contested, and as a kind of the global system of capitalism, try to pressure workers to give more.
Yeah, and when you talk about the system, I mean, some may argue contrary to what you're saying and say, trade unions actually make it difficult. They've made it difficult to hire and fire. They've limited the ability of economies to grow. They just make the environment even more complex. Would you agree with that view?
No, I will not, because in all the excuses that people are talking about, for an example, people are saying it's difficult, to hire and fire people. Our experiences is not that like that. When you go to the CCMA, people are fired every day. But worse off, the CCMA, as Nerine was saying, in the few days, they are able to train small employers free of charge how we're going to deal with those particular issues. So we can't trade fairness and justice on the basis that we want the economy to grow. Economy will grow. I think the better your workforce are working in an environment that is friendly, productive, it grows, company make profits.
Yeah. Just looking at today, how is COSATU going to celebrate this day?
Look, the theme of this year, May Day, is the celebrating the workers' contribution to the liberation struggle. So we're looking back and says when the political parties were banned, when the leaders were in exile and the other leaders in jail, the trade union, especially COSATU, become the only voice, of course working with some church organization and UDF at some point in time, was the only voice that was standing up and said, return of the exile, release our leaders and be able to go to the... So we're going to celebrate that one. But of course, there are issues that still face workers, the labor brokering, the e-tolling, the question of education, the question of corruption. So in that context, we still say the struggle continues. We've got achievement, but there's a lot that still needs to be done.
All right. I just want to ask you a question that has dogged COSATU for a long time. Where was your T-shirt made?
Oh, now it's made in South Africa. We have a system now that before we procure our T-shirt, we go to the union that is working in the industries and say identify the companies that are respecting the workers' right, that are respecting the collective bargaining. And in that context, we procure, we've got the union satisfying and said, indeed, that particular company is the company that respects the workers' right.
So you are sure that it wasn't imported into South Africa and then the label was changed, saying made in South Africa?
No, not this time.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've been tricked in the past, but not this time.
Okay. Just a couple more tweets. What about sexual harassment of workers?
Look, it still continues. If you read in some papers, as you know, that not all workers are organized. Is a system that we were trying to address. Sexual harassment is happening everywhere. It's happening at home. It's happening at the workplace. Is a system that South African citizens have to address.
Yeah, just one last one. I'm a foreigner working in South Africa. If I have grievances at the workplace, can I come? Can I get help from you guys?
The South African labor laws protect everyone, irrespective of your origin, whether you are in South Africa illegal or not. It still protects you.
Okay, all right. The main celebration today is going to be where?
It's going to be in Mangaung.
Okay.
And then there are a number of them, I mean, all over, but the main one is going to be in Mangaung.
In Mangaung, okay. Begin Jalinjal is Deputy Secretary General of COSATU, joining us this morning, talking about May Day and some issues that relate to COSATU. Okay.